Improve English listening fast. Easy daily English conversation practice. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Learn English Unleashed. I'm John, and I'm really happy you're here today. But before we begin, let me ask you something surprising. Have you ever listened to English for 10 minutes, understood almost nothing, and then suddenly understood one sentence at the end? If that has happened to you, don't worry. You're not alone. In fact, millions of English learners think they have a vocabulary problem. They think, maybe I need to learn more words. But what if that's not the real reason? What if the real reason is something much simpler? Today, we're going to talk about how to improve your English listening fast using easy daily English conversations. And trust me, some of the things you'll learn today might completely change the way you practice English. Let me tell you a quick story. A few years ago, I met a student named Alex. Alex studied English every day. He knew grammar, he knew vocabulary, he could pass English tests. But whenever he watched a movie or listened to native speakers, he felt completely lost. One day he said, "John, I know these words when I read them. Why can't I understand them when people speak?" That's a great question, and maybe you're asking the same thing right now. Here's the interesting part. Alex wasn't failing because he didn't know English. He was failing because real English sounds very different from textbook English. Strange, right? When native speakers talk, they speak quickly. They connect words together. They shorten sentences. Sometimes they even skip words completely. So learners hear English, but their brains don't recognize it. Have you ever experienced that? Maybe someone said something simple like, "I'm gonna head out." And you thought, what was that? Later you discover it simply means, "I'm going to leave." Same meaning, different sound. And that's exactly what we're going to practice today. We're not focusing on difficult grammar. We're not focusing on complicated vocabulary. We're focusing on real listening, the kind of English people actually use every day. Imagine understanding conversations at work. Imagine understanding podcasts. Imagine understanding YouTube videos without subtitles. Sounds good, doesn't it? But wait, there's another mistake many learners make. They think listening improves automatically. They believe if they listen long enough, everything crazy become easy. Unfortunately, that's not always true. Some people listen for years and still struggle. Why? Because they listen passively. They hear English, but they don't actively train their ears. Today we're going to change that. Throughout this lesson, you'll hear natural conversations. You'll learn common speaking patterns. You'll discover how native speakers really sound. And most importantly, you'll start training your ears to catch English faster. Now imagine this. You're traveling. A stranger asks you a question. 6 months ago, you might panic. But after practicing correctly, you understand immediately. How amazing would that feel? Think about that for a moment. What would change in your life if English felt easier every day? Would you feel more confident? Would you speak more? Would you enjoy movies and podcasts more? I want you to keep that picture in your mind as we continue, because improvement doesn't happen in one day. But every small step matters. And today's lesson can be one of those important steps. Before we continue, if you're enjoying learning English with us, Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Learn English Unleashed. Every lesson is designed to help you learn real English naturally and confidently. And trust me, the next part is where things start getting really interesting, because we're about to look at something very simple, yet most learners still get it wrong. Now let's start with something very simple, but most people still get it wrong. Let's make this so simple that you can't forget it. Here's the secret. Listening is not about hearing. Listening is about recognizing. That sounds strange, doesn't it? Let me explain. Imagine I say the word apple. You understand it instantly. Why? Because you've heard it many times. Your brain recognizes it immediately. Now imagine a new word you've never heard before. Even if you hear it clearly, your brain struggles. Interesting, right? The problem isn't your ears. The problem is recognition. Let's try a small conversation. John, hey, how's it going? Friend, pretty good. How about you? John, can't complain. Simple conversation. But many learners hear something like this. Hey, how's it going? Pretty good. How about you? Can't complain. Everything sounds connected, and that's normal. Native speakers connect words naturally. Now repeat after me. How's it going? Again. How's it going? Great. Notice how we don't usually say, how is it going? We shorten it. That's how real English works. But here's the interesting part. Native speakers understand these shortcuts automatically. Learners often don't. And that's why listening feels difficult. Let's look at another example. I'm going to call you later. Sounds normal. But in conversation, many people say, I'm going to call you later. Did you catch that? Gonna. Not going to. Now say it aloud. I'm going to call you later. Excellent. Do natives always use gonna? Not always. And that's where many learners get confused. English changes depending on the situation. At work, you might speak more formally. With friends, you speak more casually. Understanding both styles helps your listening dramatically. Let's imagine a conversation. Friend A, are you free tonight? Friend B, yeah, I'm gonna watch a movie. Friend A, sounds fun, easy, right? But wait, what if the speaker talks faster? Can you still recognize it? That's the real challenge. The goal isn't understanding slow English forever. The goal is training your brain to recognize patterns faster and faster. And here's something surprising. You don't need thousands of new words. You need repeated exposure to common words. The same words appear again and again in daily conversations. Think about it. How often do people say, hi, thanks, sorry, see you later, are you okay? Very often. These common expressions are the foundation of listening. So instead of chasing difficult vocabulary all day, focus on understanding everyday conversations. That gives you faster results. Have you ever noticed how children learn language? They hear the same phrases repeatedly. Again, and again, and again. Eventually, those phrases become automatic. Adults can learn the same way. The process is simple. Listen, recognize, repeat, use, then repeat the cycle. But here's the twist. Many learners skip one important step. Can you guess which one? It's repetition. People hear something once and move on. Big mistake. Your brain loves repetition. The more familiar something becomes, the easier it is to understand. So don't worry if you miss words. Don't panic if you don't understand everything. Focus on understanding a little more each day. because listening improvement is often invisible at first. Then suddenly one day, you realize you're understanding much more than before, and that feels amazing. But understanding words is only part of the story. There's another reason learners struggle, and it creates confusion even when they know every word. Let's explore that next. Now let's go into real English, not textbook English. Imagine you're in a coffee shop. The worker asks, "What can I get for you?" Simple question, but many learners expect, "What would you like to order today?" See the difference. Textbooks often teach one version. Real life often sounds different. This is what natives actually say, and that's why listening practice must include real conversations. Let's explore a few situations. John. Morning. Friend. Hey, what's up? John. Not much, just heading to work. Did you notice that? What's up? It doesn't literally mean something is above you. It's simply a casual greeting. Interesting, right? Now imagine shopping. Customer. Excuse me, how much is this? Worker. It's 20. Customer. Great, I'll take it. Simple, natural, useful. But learners sometimes create very formal sentences, and while they're grammatically correct, they don't always sound natural. Let's try another example. Textbook. I would like to purchase this item. Real life. I'll take this. Much shorter, much more common. But here's something important. Formal English isn't wrong, you need both. The trick is recognizing when people use each style. Now let's travel. Traveler. Excuse me, where's the nearest station? Local. Go straight and turn left. Traveler. Thanks. Local. No problem. Easy conversation. Yet when spoken quickly, many learners miss parts of it. Why? Because they focus on every single word. Native listeners don't do that. They listen for meaning. That's a huge difference. Here's a question. Do you try to understand every word when listening? If yes, that might be slowing you down. Sometimes understanding the main idea is enough. Let's look at workplace English. Coworker. Did you finish the report? Employee. Almost. I'll send it this afternoon. Coworker. Perfect. Short. Direct. Natural. This is how many conversations actually sound. But wait. There's one more thing natives do. They shorten words. Want to, got to, going to. Let me show you. Want to becomes wanna. Got to becomes gotta. Going to becomes gonna. These appear everywhere, movies, podcasts, daily conversations, and learners often miss them. Not because they're difficult, because nobody told them to expect them. Now here's a fun challenge. Can you understand this sentence? I'm gonna grab some food. It simply means, I'm going to get some food. Easy when you know the pattern, much harder when you don't. That's why pattern recognition matters so much. Let's do one more role play. Friend A. Wanna come with us? Friend B. Sure, what time? Friend A. Around 7. Friend B. Sounds good. Did you catch wanna? Native speakers use it constantly, and now your ears are starting to recognize it. But there is one more hidden way natives speak. And once you hear it, you can't unhear it. Now let's make your English sound natural instantly. Here's something many learners never notice. Words are important, but tone is powerful. Imagine saying, really? You can sound surprised, excited, confused, or skeptical. Same word, different meaning. Interesting, right? Let's practice. Really? Surprised? Really? Confused? Really? Excited? Feel the difference? That's natural English. Now let's shorten sentences. Instead of, I do not know, many people say, I don't know. Instead of, I am not sure. People often say, I'm not sure. Shorter, faster, more natural. Let's hear a dialogue. Friend A, you coming? Friend B, yeah, I'll be there soon. Friend A, great. Notice how relaxed it sounds. Real conversations are usually simple, not complicated. Another trick is emotion. If you're happy, let your voice show it. If you're surprised, let your voice show it. English is not only words, it's expression. And that's one reason listening becomes easier when you hear natural speakers often. Your brain starts recognizing emotional patterns too. Now you're starting to sound like a real English speaker. But mistakes can still break everything. Common mistakes. Let me tell you a funny story. One day, a learner proudly told me, John, I am understanding all peoples. I smiled. I knew exactly what happened. The learner translated directly from another language. And that's one of the biggest mistakes learners make. Mistake number 1. Direct translation. English doesn't always follow the same patterns as your native language. Instead of translating word by word, learn common English expressions. Mistake number 2. Trying to hear every word. This mistake causes frustration. Imagine listening to a movie. You miss one word, then you panic, then you miss 5 more words, then 10 more. Sound familiar? Instead, stay relaxed. Focus on the main message. Your understanding will improve. Mistake number 3. Ignoring pronunciation. Many learners study vocabulary only through reading. Then they hear the words spoken differently and become confused. For example, comfortable. Many learners expect comfortable, but native speakers often say something closer to comfortable. Surprising, right? That's why listening practice matters. Mistake number 4. Fear of making mistakes. This one is huge. Some learners stay silent because they want perfect English, but perfection slows progress. Practice creates improvement, not perfection. Let me show you something. Learner, I know understand. Native speaker, that's okay, let me explain. Communication still happens. The conversation continues. The world doesn't end. Yet many learners worry too much. Here's the interesting part. Most native speakers are not judging you. They're simply trying to communicate. That changes everything. Now let's compare. Incorrect. He go to work every day. Correct? He goes to work every day. Small difference. Big improvement. Another example. Incorrect. I am agree. Correct. I agree. This mistake makes you sound unnatural, and many learners repeat it for years. Why? Because they memorize rules without hearing enough real English. Listening helps fix these problems naturally. The more patterns you hear, the more natural your English becomes. And here's something encouraging. Every mistake teaches you something. Every misunderstanding teaches you something. Every conversation teaches you something. So don't fear mistakes. Use them. Learn from them. Grow from them. Because every fluent speaker you admire today made countless mistakes before becoming fluent. Wait, did you expect fluent speakers to be perfect? They're not. They simply keep practicing, and that's exactly what you should do too. Now let's put everything together with a quick challenge. Practice. Let's test your English right now. Question 1. Which sounds more natural? A. I am going to call you later. B. I'm gonna call you later. Both are correct, but B is more common in casual speech. Question 2. What does "what's up" usually mean? A greeting. B, looking at the sky. Correct answer. A, nice job. Question 3. Say this aloud. I'll see you tomorrow. Great. Question 4. Which sounds natural? A, I am agree. B, I agree. Correct answer? B, excellent. Final challenge. Say this quickly. I'm gonna grab some food. Can you do it naturally? Awesome. Don't think too much. Just speak. Conclusion. Here's something powerful. 30 minutes ago, real English might have felt confusing. But now you've seen what's really happening behind the sounds. You learned that listening isn't just hearing. It's recognizing patterns. You learned that native speakers connect words. You learned that real conversations are often simpler than textbooks. And most importantly, you learned that improvement is possible. Let's remember 3 key ideas. First, listen for meaning, not every word. Second, practice common daily conversations repeatedly. Third, don't fear mistakes. Use them as learning opportunities. Now I want to ask you something. What is one English phrase you learned today that surprised you? Was it gonna, wanna, or maybe what's up? Think about it. Because small discoveries create big progress over time. Remember, fluency is not a race. You don't need to become perfect tomorrow. You just need to become a little better today. And if you keep doing that consistently, the results can be incredible. One day you'll watch a video and understand more. One day you'll have a conversation and feel more confident. One day you'll realize English feels natural. And that day may arrive sooner than you think. If you enjoyed this lesson, don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, and subscribe to Learn English Unleashed. Tell me below, what is the hardest part of English listening for you? I'd love to hear your answer. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Keep practicing, keep listening, keep believing in your progress. And most importantly, keep using English every single day. Take care, stay motivated, and I'll see you in the next one.